guys, welcome to Get Started YouTube channel. If today is your first time, you're welcome. And if you've been a loyal subscriber or you've been part of this family, I'm happy that you are with me. Of course, so today we shall be looking at what problems leading to quadratic equations. Of course, we've dealt with quadratic equations using solving quadratic equations using factorization method, formula method, and completing the square method. Okay, but during that class, I gave an assignment. Okay, I gave this problem and I asked you guys for you to solve using formula method and completing square method because I did use factorization method to solve the problem. So I wanted you to compare with what I have done with the other methods to see whether your answers will align with mine. Okay, so those of you that have done that, and if this is your first time, I will entreat you, I will advise you for you to check that video, okay, where I talked about solving quadratic equation using factorization, formula method, and complete square method. Then you can look at this assignment and you should be able to solve that. Okay. However, if you want to work with this now, then it's okay. So let's look at the assignment before we jump into our topic for today. Okay. Okay, so we are still under algebraic processes. Okay, algebraic expressions. So we've dealt with so many topics, and this is just a continuation because the difference between my channel and any other math channel so far, maybe you have seen, is that I don't just come and treat and solve problems just like that. I want to treat um, topics. Okay, I want to finish algebraic expressions, everything. You when you check my YouTube channel, you will see the topics I've dealt with. Okay, so I deal with topics. So once you are able to understand that topic, I'm quite sure the exams will be very easy for you. And that's the goal. It's not like just pick problems and just solving topics randomly. Okay, I want to treat them accordingly. So that's the best thing you will enjoy in this channel. Okay, so let's look at this. It says use the formula method and complete the square method to solve. Okay, I have solved factorization method already. So for formula method, the first thing you have to do here, you have to look at this equation and see whether if there is any way for you to be able to simplify. Okay, once you notice that, try to simplify first. So if you look at this, there's something that is common. 3 can go into this, 3 can go into this, 3 can go into this. So you divide both sides by 3, this by 3, this by 3, and by 3. So for you to reduce this equation, so this and this gives you 2y squared plus y minus 3 into this gives you 3 equals to 0. Now because I cannot simplify further, I can now apply formula method. And according to formula method, since we are using a variable of y, you can say y equals to minus b plus or minus the square root of b square minus 4ac all divided by 2a. Okay, where a is what? The coefficient of the variable with highest power, which in this case is 2. B is equals to 1, the coefficient here, and C must equals to minus 3. Okay, so now all you need to do is just to substitute these values. So therefore your y becomes minus b is 1. So minus 1 plus or minus square root of 1 square minus 4 into 1 times minus 3. Close bracket. Everything here divided by 2 into 2. Okay, so we have minus 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 square is 1. We have minus here. So this is minus 3. 1 times minus 3 is minus 3. Minus 3 times minus 4. That gives you plus. So 4ac rather, a is 2. See? So this is 2. So you have to take your time. Of course, A, B, and C. So if you multiply, 2 times it gives you minus 6. Minus 6 multiplied by this, that will give you plus 24. Okay? So everything here divided by 4 as well, because if you multiply 2 times 2. Now, the next thing you have to do, we just add this one. So we have minus 1 plus or minus the square root of, if you add this, you have 25 divided by 4. So the next thing we have to do is just to find the square root of this. So this gives you minus 1 plus or minus the square root of 25 is 5 divided by 4. So we add, we take the positive, minus 1 plus 5 divided by 4, or minus 1 minus 5 divided by 4. So if you subtract this, you have 4. Remember, when you have two numbers with different signs, subtract and take the sign of the bigger number. So this is just like saying 5 minus 1. So 4 over 4, or this now, because they have the same sign, all you have to do is just to add them and take the common sign. That's minus 6 over 4. Now you reduce 4 here, so this becomes 1, or minus 3 over 2, because 2 here, 3, 2 here. So that is your answer. So therefore, the y is 1 or minus 3 over 2. And of course, if you've looked at the video, those of you that have solved the assignment, you'll find out that even for factorization, when we solved, this was our answer. Okay? So let's look at the other method, which is complete square method. So I actually have... Yes, so let's go with the second method, of course, which is complete square method. Okay? So if you have to use complete square method, the first thing we have to do, the same thing, we have to first simplify this equation. Okay? So we divide both sides by 3, this by 3, 3, 3, 3. So this gives you 2y squared plus y minus 3 equals to 0. Okay? So for completing square method, we have to separate numbers with variables and those without. So in order for us to do that, we transpose this one into the right hand side. So this becomes 2y squared plus y equals to 0 plus 3. Okay? Then this is 2y squared plus y equals to 3. Now, in solving using complete square method, of course, I have talked about this, we always have to ensure that the variable with the highest power here is 1. So for that, we divide both sides by 2, this by 2, and this by 2. So this and this goes. So we are left with y squared plus, this is the same as half multiplied by y equals to 3 over 2. Okay? So the next step is to take half of this middle term here, the coefficient of the y, and not y squared. So we say half of half, then we multiply this. This gives you 1 over 4. Then the next thing, we square that. So this is what we are going to add both on the left part and on the right to complete the square. So we have here y squared plus half y, then we add this 1 over 4 all square equals to right hand side, we have 3 over 2 plus 1 over 4 all square. Okay? So now we got this one from this. And for us to complete this square, we only consider now we have y square plus 1 over 4 all square. So this, we don't need this anymore. Equals to, because this makes up exactly what you are seeing here. So we have 3 over 2 plus 1 square is 1, 4 square is 16. Okay. Next, both of them have squares. So we write y plus 1 over 4 all square equals to, the LCM here is 16. This into this, 8 times this is 24 plus this gives you 1. 16 to 16, 1 time. 1 time 1 is 1. Now this, we have y plus 4 equals to, so let's square, then this is 25 over 16. If we want to take this one to the right hand side, we have the square root here, and this is plus or minus the square root here. So the square roots cancel this power. So we are left with y plus, this should be 1 over 4. 1 over 4 equals to, plus or minus, square root of this becomes 5, square root of this becomes 4. Okay? Now if we transpose this, so this becomes y equals to, plus here changes to minus, 1 over 4 plus or minus 5 upon 4. So we have y equals to, take the positive, minus 1 over 4 plus 5 over 4. So the LCM here is 4. This becomes minus 1 plus 5. Or we have minus 1 over 4. We take the minus, and this becomes 5 over 4. Okay? So this again, the LCM, 4 minus 1 minus 5. So this becomes y. This is 4 over 4. Or, and that gives you minus 6 over 4. So this definitely is going to be 1, and it's going to be minus 3 over 2, which gives you the same answer as the one we just did. So y 4 over 4 or minus 6 over 4. So this becomes 1 or minus 3 over 2. So that's the answer. So if you compare with the one we solved, it's just the same answer. Problems leading to quadratic equations, or word problems in general, okay, it's where you are given a statement and you are expected to interpret that statement representing particular numbers. So you use variables to represent numbers and solve, get the variables, okay, because you need to find your unknowns. So there are certain terms, of course, you need to understand when it comes to word problems. Words like is most often means equals to, okay, more than, it means plus. If I have 5 leons more than you, and if you have 10, meaning I have 15 leons. Okay, ago means minus, in years time you have to add. So some of these things, product means multiplication, sum, addition, difference is minus. Okay, so once you be able to know these basic words, then the rest of the work now is left with you, how best you understand English, okay, to be able to interpret questions. So the first problem there says, so I'll read the questions in case you can't see them properly, even though I'm convinced enough you guys can see, okay. So the first problem says, the product of two consecutive odd numbers is 195. By constructing a quadratic equation and solving it, find the two numbers. So we have some key terms: product, consecutive, okay, odd numbers as well. So we need to know first what are odd numbers. Okay, odd numbers, of course, are numbers when you divide m by 2, you always have a remainder of 1. Okay? So for odd numbers, one of the things you observe, you have like a difference of 2. So let's say if you start with like 3, 5, 7, what you observe here, difference of 2. So if one number, let's say if this is x, for us to get the next number, we have to add plus 2. So that's the whole thing. Okay? So if the question says the product of two consecutive odd numbers. So let's say the first number. So if you let the first number be x. So if the first number is x, then the next number, therefore the next odd number, so the next odd number is going to be x plus 2. Okay, so if this was 1 plus 2, you have 3, so something like that. Okay, so once you know this, and it says the product of two consecutive odd numbers. So therefore, the product now is going to be x into x plus 2 is, which is equals to 195. Okay, so everything that you have to do here is just simplification. So this becomes x squared plus 2x equals to 195. So this becomes x squared plus 2x, you bring this one minus 195 equals to 0. So you can use now any method that you are convenient with to solve quadratic equations. And of course, we've dealt with quadratic equations already. So if you don't understand this particular tutorial, check out that particular video. You will see where we talked about quadratic equations. Okay, so for this, you may find it very difficult to determine the two numbers, okay, that you can multiply. You have minus 195, you add or subtract them, you have 2. So in my own case, I like to use formula method. So in that case, I save my time and save my neck from thinking. So all I have to do, I will just write using formula method. So by using the formula method, which says that minus, so because we are using a variable which is x, you can just say x equals to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac all divided by 2a. Okay, so we substitute where your a is always the coefficient of the variable with the highest power, which in this case is 1. B is the next one, which is 2. And C equals to minus 195. Okay? So you substitute. So therefore your x equals to, it says minus b, and b is 2. So this gives you minus 2 plus or minus square root of b again is 2. So it becomes 2 squared minus 4 into. So your a is 1 multiplied by minus 195, close bracket. Everything here divided by 2 into a is 1 as well. So you have x equals to minus 2 plus or minus. This gives you 4. Minus times minus, that's plus 4 times, because you know if I'm multiplying 1 times 195 is the same as 195. So 4 multiplied by 195. Now, in multiplying these numbers, let me just tell you a simple trick you should use most times if you are finding it very difficult. you have 4 into 190 plus 5. You know 190 plus 5 will give you 195. So just divide that, because most often we find it very easy to multiply with zeros. So this is the same as, so if I can multiply 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times this, I know it's 36. So I have 4 times is 4 plus the 3 gives me 7. Now plus 4 times this gives me 20. So if I add this, I have 780. And if you multiply that, let's see what you have. So 4 multiplied by 195 gives you 780 as well. Okay? So this is 780. So that's it. That is very, very simple. Okay? So you add. So everything here divided by 2. Okay? So you have x equals to minus 2 plus or minus square root of 784 divided by 2. So x equals to minus 2 plus or minus. So we check for the square root. So square root of that. So that's 784. So the square root of 784. That gives you 28. So this is 28 divided by 2. Take the positive, x equals to minus 2. The positive is plus 28 divided by 2, or minus 2 minus. We take minus now, 28 divided by 2. So this one gives you 26 divided by 2, which is 13, or minus 30 divided by 2, which is minus 15. Now, so we are told here what you have when you multiply, you have something that is positive. So this can either be negative, okay, because odd numbers do not only mean they have to be positive numbers. Okay, we have negative odd numbers and positive odd numbers. So it depends on which one you want to take. So if you want to use this one, then all of them have to be positive. If you are using this, they have to be negative. Okay, so consecutive, after minus 15, you are going to what? Minus 13. Okay, fine. And this, you are moving upward, 15, 13, then the next one is 15. So therefore, your numbers, are going to be, remember the first number was x, and it depends on which one you want to take care. So if x is your first number, then your second number is going to be what? 13 plus 2, which is 15. If you are using the negative, if x is minus 15, then the next number is going to be what? Minus 15 plus 2, which is minus 13. So they can either be this or the positive ones. Okay? We have positive odd numbers and negative odd numbers. Okay? So forget about the signs. So the two numbers will be 13 and 15. Okay? They can either be both. So let's look at the next one. Number 2 problem says the sum of two numbers is 15 and their product is 54. Find the numbers. Very simple. So you have two numbers here. The sum. So we let x and y represent the first and the other number respectively. Okay? So now we interpret the question because we don't know the number, so we have to let you have to take letters to represent the numbers. So the sum of two numbers. So meaning you can add in the sum x plus y must equals to 15. So this is equation 1. And their product. So the same two numbers and their product is 54. So xy must equals to 54. This is equation 2. Now it's more like simultaneous equation, but we'll head to quadratic. Now, whenever you have equations like this and you have to solve for the variables, this is a linear. Okay? So between the two, you have to look at the equation that is more convenient for you to use. Okay? So when I look at this, I consider the first one to be very easy. So because of that, you are going to take a letter here. You are going to make one of the letters here subject of the relation. And once you get that, you substitute into the other equation. So you say from equation 1, so we have x plus y equals to 15. We make x the subject, x equals to 15 minus y. Let's say this is equation 3. Now you are going to substitute equation 3 into equation 2. So you substitute equation 3 into equation 2. Equation 2 says xy equals to 54. Okay? Now, but x is what? 15 minus y. So if you substitute that, for instead of x now, you have 15 minus y, brackets, open brackets, close, times the y, here, equals to 54. So this becomes 15y minus y square equals to 54. So we transpose everything there. So this becomes 0 equals to 54 plus y square minus 15y. So if that's rearranged, we have y square minus 15y plus 54 equals to 0. Okay, if you know the two numbers, you can use factorization method. For this case, I'm going to use factorization method. So the two numbers that you multiply, you know now we solve that. Okay, so this becomes, if you don't know, check my YouTube channel to be able to see how we solve quadratic equation using factorization or formula or complete the square method. So the two numbers here will be minus 9 and minus 6. So I have y square minus 9y minus 6y plus 54 equals to 0. Now you have 4 terms. So you group them into 2, this and this. The next thing is to determine what is common inside the bracket. So here we have y into what remains here is y minus y cancel y. What remains here is 9. You have minus what is common here is 6 because 6 are going to this, 6 are going to this without a remainder. Okay, and the smaller value here is 6. So what remains is y. You are not going to write this one. You multiply because plus multiplied by this minus multiplied by this becomes minus. 6 into this becomes 9 again. Everything equals to 0. So now what is common here? You will see that is y minus 9 that is common, the close bracket. What remains here is y minus. Here again, so it's like you are factorizing. 6. Everything equals to 0. So you have to solve these two brackets. So you take 1, y minus 9 equals to 0. So y equals to 0 plus 9. So your y is going to be, when you add this, you have 9. Or y minus 6 equals to 0. Y equals to 0 plus 6. So y equals to 6. So even when you solve for x, you are still going to have these two answers. Because remember, okay, look at it here. So if you substitute into x, what are you going to have? So your x is now going to be 15 minus y. When y is 9, if you substitute here, you have x as 6. Here again, when y is 6, if you substitute, you are going to have x as 9. So whatever the case, okay, you are going to have 9 and 6. And those are the two numbers because the question says, what are the two numbers? Okay, so the two numbers will be 9 and 6. The next problem says, the sum of a number and its square is 182. Find the number. Okay, the sum of a number and its square. The sum of a number and its square is 182. Find the number. So we don't know the number. We just have to take the letter. So solution to that, we say let the number be A. So now, once you are done with representing the number with a letter, you go back to the question and try to interpret it now. The sum of a number and its square. So you have a number and its square. Remember, you are summing. The square of it is A because A times A. So you have A, that's the number, and its square is 182. This is very simple. So this becomes A square plus A. If you bring this minus 182 equals to 0. So the same thing. If I'm finding it very difficult to determine the two numbers, I'll just use formula method. Simple as that. So by using formula method, since I'm using A here, so A equals to minus B plus or minus B square minus 4AC equals to 2A. So the next thing we have to do, we say where your A is what? 1. Your B is 1 again, and your C is now going to be minus 182. So once you get that, you substitute. So A equals to minus B is 1 minus 1 plus or minus square root of 1 square minus 4 into A is 1 times minus 182, close bracket, everything there divided by 2 into 1. So we have A equals to minus 1 plus or minus square root, we have 1 here, and minus times minus gives you plus 4 times 182. So if you want, you can use again the same method. You say 4 multiplied by, you separate this one, say 180 plus 2. You know, if you add them, that gives you 182. So now you can multiply. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 8 is 32. Carry 3. 4 times this, so that gives me 720. Okay, plus 4 times this is 8. So now, if I add this, it gives me 728. And let's prove that and see if that's it. So 4 multiplied by 182. Let's see, we have 728. Okay, so that's one way for you to multiply numbers. Since we are convenient with multiplying numbers, okay, with zeros, that ends with zeros. So this gives you 728. Everything here divided by 2. So your A becomes, so this is minus 1 plus or minus. If you add that, it gives you 729 all divided by 2. So A becomes, you find the square root of that. So the square root of 729 gives you 27. So minus 1 plus or minus 27 divided by 2. So you take the positive, minus 1 plus 27 divided by 2, or minus 1 minus 27 divided by 2. So this gives you 26, divide that, gives you 13, or this and this gives you minus 28, divide that, gives you minus 14. Now we have to go back to the question and see which one is correct. So we say the A can either be positive 13 or minus 14. So you just check. If A is 13, meaning 13 plus 13 square, is that going to give you 182? I'm sure. So this one is going to give you 182 because this is 13 plus 169. And if you add that, you are going to have 182. If you use again the 14, you have minus 14 plus 14 square. Remember, when it is negative and you square it, you have positive. So that gives you 196. And this again will give you 182. So the number can either be positive 13 or negative 14. In this case, both applies. Okay. So we are on to number 4. And I guess that will be the last problem. This one I will just interpret and you are going to solve, bring me the answer. Okay? As against the next topic. Okay? So if you look at this, it says the width of a field is 5 meters less than its length. If the area is 204 meters square, find the dimensions of the field. We don't know. The only information we have here is about the width, which is 5 meters less. So that is the dependent variable. So the independent variable is going to be the length. The dependent variable here is the width. So we let the independent variable to be a letter, which is the length. We say let y represent the length. So if the length is y, the width can be found. So the width we say is 5 meters less. So if the length is 10 meters, then the width is going to be, you subtract, that will be 5. If the length is 15, the width is going to be 10. So in that case, you are subtracting. So the width minus 5. The width is 5 meters less than the length. And it says if the area, so then the area is 204, the area of the field, meters square. So this is meters, and this again in meter. All in meters, again in meters. Okay? Now, but we know that area is the length times the width. So the area is 204 equals to the length is y multiplied by y minus 5. So this gives you 204 equals to y square minus 5y. You transpose this becomes 0 equals to y square minus 5y minus 204. So therefore y square minus 5y minus 204 equals to 0. So this one, you don't have to change any signs again. Okay, I'm just bringing this one here. This remains there. Okay, so the next thing again, the same thing. You use any of the methods. I like to use formula method because it saves my time having to think of the two numbers. Yeah. So using formula method, I know because I'm using a variable which is y minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. Okay, so this time around I'm just going to use the calculator, everything, for me to get the answer. So we are a is equals to 1, your b is equals to minus 5, and your c is minus 204. So therefore my y is now going to be, so this one you can actually put it inside the calculator and get your answer. Your answer. Okay, so this becomes minus. My b is 5 and it's minus 5. Plus or minus the square root, my b again is minus 5 all square minus 4 into. A is 1 multiplied by minus 204. Close bracket. Everything here divided by 2 into 1. So y becomes, so I'll just check everything there for me to know my answer. I have a division, so I'll just use this, and that's why I use this type of calculator. It saves you time. So you have this division sign, like 2 boxes. Okay, you have this. For those of you that are finding it very difficult, you see something like this, a symbol. So that's what I'm going to use. Okay. The next thing is that I'm just going to write, I know if I multiply this, that gives me positive. So I'll just write 5 at the top. Okay. Now, here, meaning since I'm using this, I'm just going to take one of these for now. Okay. Because you don't want to write them here, plus or minus. So you just take one and solve, get your answer, and you come back and input the minus and get your answer. That's it. So if I have plus now, plus the square root, so this is my square root. Now some of these I will just break them. If you don't want, you can still use everything. Okay, so you open bracket inside, so minus 5, close bracket, you press the square, then you have minus 4, you open the bracket, you have 1 times minus 204, you close the bracket. Okay, everything inside, then you press this button. Okay, you see 4 here arrows, you press the one that pointed this way, so that will bring you down. So down now is going to be 2. So once you get that, you get the answer. So y for the positive, this is 17. Now I want to go with the next one. So all I have to do, I'll just come backward. Okay, I'll just come backward. So where am I? Instead of positive now, I'll delete this and write minus. The same thing, so I have minus 12 or minus 12. Okay, I'm just using this so some of you that are finding it very difficult to use the calculator, so you know actually. So you get, so that's it for your length. Now, so it means your length here, which is y, is going to be 17. So in this case, you are going to use that. Okay. The next one, so therefore, and because you have to find the dimensions, your width, which was y minus 5, 17 minus 5, which gives you positive 12. So if I multiply these two, I should have the area, which is 204 meters square. So the dimensions will be 17 meters by 12 meters. Okay, that's the dimension of the field. Now the last problem, as I told you, I'm just going to interpret that. So it says a woman is 4 times older than her daughter. 6 years ago, the product of their ages was 136. Find their present ages. We don't know. We are only given, but we know that the woman is 4 times as old as her daughter. Okay? We don't know anything about the daughter. And we are told again 6 years ago, their product, the product of their ages. So because we don't have any information about the daughter, we let something. So we say let Q represent the daughter's age. So the daughter's age is going to be Q. So if the daughter's age is Q, now we start we'll go back to the question and interpret. The woman is 4 times as old, 4 times older than her daughter. So the woman is now going to be 4 multiplied by Q, which is 4Q. So that's the first part of this question. 6 years ago, so 6 years ago, their ages will be what? That's exactly what we are going to find out. So it says 6 years ago, the product of their ages was 136. So let's determine first, 6 years ago, what was their ages? So the daughter, 6 years ago, remember, for now, so the daughter's age, for now, before this time, the daughter was Q years. So 6 years ago, it will be Q minus 6, all in years. And the woman was 4Q. So 4Q multiplied minus 6 again, because you are reducing 6 years ago. But the question further says 6 years ago, the product of their ages. So the product of their ages now, so meaning you have to add, you have to multiply this. So you have Q minus 6. Okay, that's what? The daughter's age multiplied by the mother's age, which is 4Q minus 6. Everything here, so you guys can see there. So everything was equals to 136. So just clear the bracket and solve, get your answer. Okay, so that will be your assignment for this particular subtopic. We'll look at our next topic. So make sure you follow the YouTube. All I want you to do for me is just to give this video, if you've learned something, a thumbs up, so that YouTube will recommend it to other viewers or other people that have the same interest. Okay, and don't forget to share and like. Okay, and the last thing, of course, consider to subscribe if you want to get content like this always. Okay, thank you so much.